Welcome to yet another exciting edition of Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. On this edition of the program, top stars set for Lagos Golf Challenge. Coming in from the world of cricket, there has been upbeat ahead of the World Cup qualifiers. Winners emerged at the FIFA Best Award ceremony. Details of these and many more will be yours when we return from a break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network, and Mike is here.
Good morning, and good morning to our viewers.
Let's start from cricket this hour, where the Nigeria male senior cricket team, Sylvester Pace captain, has said that he just concluded LTC 200 Continental Cup in Kigali, Rwanda, has helped the team improve in different aspects of their game ahead of the final phase of the 2026 T20 World Cup qualifiers, which will be played next year. The Nigerian cricket side has never been too bad, if you ask me, because he actually finished second at the last qualifiers. Do you see them taking a step further this time around?
Yeah, of course. I haven't seen what they've done in the recent few games that they've played. I think they have what it takes to also continue in this very big move. But most especially, I think it's about the 2026 ITTC senior men cricket team that will be coming up 2026. I think that is where the main challenge is. But you listen to the coach saying that at least he was able to take positive despite the fact that we finished second in the just concluded championship. But then I think we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. So going by the performance of some of those players, I think we are very confident that indeed come 2026 we are going to pull through in the ICC T20 World Championship. Nigerian
cricket side finishing second to Uganda after a 6-wicket defeat in the final, what will have been their last outing for the year 2024. But despite the result, Okwebu is the captain, believes the tournament has shown the team different areas of improvement ahead of subsequent tournaments coming up in 2025, leading up to the main qualifier, particularly the final phase of the qualifier. Nigeria started the competition actually brightly with 2 wins against host Rwanda and Botswana, where lost 5 consecutive games before bouncing back for a place in the final. that saw them lose. Nigeria's biggest test in 2025 definitely will be to qualify for the 2026 ICC T20 World Cup in India and in a competition. What chances do we have talking about Nigerian golfers? The big names are there.
I think we have a very big chance for me because just like you say, some of the top golfers are, right here in the country. I think they are in this very, very one. You can't also forget the American-based Tokumbo, who also have been doing very well, have been making different tours from different countries, USA down to China, Australia. So I think for me, for the fact that we boast some of the best golfers in the country, I think we stand a chance of competing against other top guns coming in from other African countries out there. So I think having seen what we did even in the last championship that took place out there in the Koi Golf Club, I believe we have what it takes to go out there and do the country proud.
Nigeria is expected to do the country proud at the golf section of the Koi Club later this week, and in fact in under 48 hours from now. We're having top golfers, especially Tokumbo Pedro, who is American based. He's played both in China, in America. He will be part of the top golfers that will be on showcase at the Gui Golf Course. Now, let's get to football and talk about football, Mike. The high-flying Nigerian Premier League newcomers, Ikorodu City, have been ordered to play their next 2 home games behind closed doors. This is ugly, but we don't wish club sides continue to find themselves on the wrong side of the law.
Definitely, and it's quite disappointing because this is not the first incident we are hearing about, fans of some club, misbehaving, especially on a match day where sometimes they get to insult the center ref, sometimes it's about the coaches and all of that. So I believe these are things that we should be able to put to rest. Not every now and then you are hearing club being fined the sum of 3-point-something million naira, 5 million naira, 1 point something, courtesy of fans' hooliganism and their inability to stay within the tenets of the principles that governs the Nigerian Premier Football League. I think it was a very disheartening scene for the Ikorodu City Remo Stars last game. You saw, in fact, the assistant coach of Remo Stars was actually big hammer against some teams who failed to comply with the extant laws that governs the Nigerian Premier Football League.
3 million naira fine for Ikorodu City and playing 2 games behind closed doors. This is coming after a month of rowdy scenes occasioned by pitch encroachment, leading to physical assault on the Remo Stars coach Suleiman Kamali during the last Sunday's Southwest derby between both clubs based in Lagos. The thriller encounter ended 1-1 at the Mbole Johnson Arena, and the Ikorodu were charged for breach of rules B13-52, B13-18 as well of C9 of the league framework. We just hope that other club sides will learn from what has happened here, because we do not want to see these very ugly scenes. It demarcates the league, and Mike, sponsors are being sought after. Nobody will want to get themselves into this kind of a mess.
True, because top sponsors that would have loved to put their money in the league, they would just like you said, nobody want to put his or her money in a league where you look as though violence is the order of the day, where fans, troubles every now and then, week in, week out. I mean, it doesn't show professionalism, and it is a slap on the face of the Nigerian Premier Football League, because if they are unable to attract sponsors courtesy of the unruly behavior of fans out there, then it's a dent on their own image, a dent on the development of Nigerian league, and a dent on the entire board of the Nigerian Premier Football League as well. So I think that is why they are doing everything possible. And one thing again, I must also commend the league body, is about their seriousness, their intention, their intentional approach towards wielding the big hammer. Just on Sunday that this is or you draw. And in the spirit of sportsmanship, whichever of this result that comes your way, you just have to take it the way it comes. You don't necessarily need to go to the media to vent your anger. I mean, if there are certain things that you did not, accept or you think it does not go down well with you, there are many channels for you to, use and ventilate your anger other than going to the media to, make some derogatory statements against the league. It doesn't make sense for me. So I think Benga Ogubote should be able to be cautioned and tamed so that he deviate from some of these derogatory comment that does not speak well for the league, because this is not the first time, this is not the second time, and it's becoming recurrent decimal for Benga Ogubote. He needs to be cautioned seriously.
Benga Ogubote needs to be cautioned, and that's what we've done here, and hopefully maybe other sanctions will be applied to him after months of his meeting with the necessary committee charged with regulating the league here in Nigeria. Meanwhile, there's a bright side. Of course, the winner, the winning of the CAF Male Player of the Year by Lukman has continued to elicit response, because the former president of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, is so delighted to have convinced the newly crowned African Footballer of the Year, Demola Lukman, to play for Nigeria during his tenure, which ended in 2022. The man you see on the screen there, where Ademola Lukman was actually, convinced, they say lobbied by the presidency of Amaju Pinnick then to play for Nigeria against maybe playing for the English national team as well. And I think that effort now has been crowned with a trophy from CAF.
Sure, I think it's a nice one, and we are very happy about his achievements, about the fight, the hunger to represent the country as well. He took the Nigerian Football Federation a very tough time before they were able to convince Ademola Lukman to change his allegiance, because you can't also forget that he played through the rank of the English national team under 17, under 19, under 21 as well. In fact, he was part of the English side on that 2017 under 20 World Cup that won that very one. The first time they are going to win a major trophy in 1966 after the last one. And about 3 times that he was approached to change his allegiance to play for the country, he refused, but then
Nigeria continuing to dominate, do I say, back-to-back at the CAF competitions.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's about the transition of the victors. Victor Ikpeba to Kanu Nwankwo, Victor Osimhen to Ademola Lukman. So I think it clearly tells you that we are improving. But then a lot as well needs to be done. Besides we producing the African Footballer of the Year, can we actually go a step further to crown it all by also winning the African Cup of Nations? Because 3 times, that is the record that we've won it. We have countries, Cameroon, Ghana, Egypt, that won the African Cup of Nations, record 4 times, record 5 times, record 6 times. Yet we are the giants of Africa. We've just managed to win 3. So I think we should go a bit step further by making sure that we make a statement of intent. Though last edition of the African Cup of Nations, we did our best, got to the final, but unfortunately lost to the host country, talking about Africa. So beyond we producing the African Footballer of the Year, can we actually go a step further by winning the African Cup of Nations to crown it all? To say, okay, for the fact that for the last 2 years we've been pushing producing the African Footballer of the Year, but we must, as a matter of must, crown it all by winning our 4th African Cup of Nations. That is the only way we can also convince other African countries and the world that indeed we are improving. Because we winning the African Footballer of the Year without winning the major crown itself, talking about the laurels, then I do not think that record or history will continue to speak good of us. Having won the African Cup of Nations 3 times, we must win it 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. It is not a crime. We are giant of Africa.
There's more reactions to come around the African Cup of Nations and of course the CAF awards that were given out a couple of hours ago, because while some are jubilating, some are actually complaining about the exclusion of some top players in some of the categories of the award. But we'll take a break. When we return for a break, we'll look at what others are saying about the exclusion from some of the top prizes that were given in Marrakesh, Morocco. Stay with us.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Welcome back. It's Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network, and we'll bring you up to speed with the latest happening around the world of sports. And just before we went to break, we were talking about reaction about the CAF awards that were given out in Marrakesh, Morocco. Nigeria, of course, remember, did win the CAF Male Player of the Year award. Of course, the safest hand in the African female football goalkeeper, Chiamaka, won that one. As the Super Falcons too are emerging continuously or consecutively as the best female national team on the continent of Africa. But there has been overwhelming, that's a rejection of the fact that William Troost-Ekong has been excluded from the FIBRO Best 11 team that was named at Morocco. A lot of people believe that he's done his best, especially at the last Nations Cup, to be named as a defender. If you remember, he was named the most valuable defender of the 2024 African Cup of Nations. And of course, did make the list of the best 11 AFCON player. But surprisingly, he's not been part of those who have been named as FIBRO 11 player. And you wonder, how can the best defender on the continent of Africa and the best defender at the last Nations Cup not be part of the FIBRO 11 squad?
I think for me it's quite questionable, and people that are making cases for. He also was rated as the second most highest defender in Greek. Then again, he was able to keep 14 clean sheets for his club side out there. So with this, his prowess and the achievements of his club side vis-a-vis that of national team, there is no way on earth you can tell me that CAF or the organizer can ignore such scintillating performance that Truls Ekong was able to put up. Now, Koulibaly that was picked ahead of him, how well did he fare in the Senegalese national team? How well did he fare for his Saudi Pro League side? So if you tell me, if you put these two players together in terms of their achievement, side by side, I tell you, Truls Ekong is head and shoulder above Koulibaly. So, but sometimes this criteria to some of these issues is something that get people confused, and that is why it's still a source of debate. You can't also forget the impressive show of our goalkeeper as well, who was also omitted from the equation. He did pretty well, but then he was also
talk about Stanley Nwabali, you mean?
Yes, Stanley Nwabali. So for me, I think I don't know the criteria. Like I keep saying that the organizers used to judge, but I tell you, Truls Ekong truly deserved to be on the best 11, and it still remains very questionable.
Talking about questionable decision there, this is an aftermath of a voting process. A lot of people involved in this voting process, journalists involved. That looks like to all in a bid to ensure that it is a fair process. What do you think?
Yeah, all in a bid to ensure that it's a fair process, but then we know that all over the world, sometimes you get to see some hanky-panky play behind the scene, and that is why sometimes there are some players that truly deserve certain award, but it goes in different direction. Example is the last Ballon d'Or award, where so many people expected Vinicius Junior, to coast home that very one, but then surprisingly it went to Rodri. So for the fact that we have some credible journalists, national team coaches, team captain, and some selected individuals to vote in this very one, the process sometimes is still flawed, and that is why we are having some question marks on why some certain players were not even included in some of these award nominees. For example, we talk about the national team coach of the year. Even Joseph Pizarro, that took the Super Eagles to the final of the last AFCON, he was omitted from the nomination list, not to win it, but to be nominated as one of the best coaches. So these are indices that when you get to take a look at it, you are not that convinced that the process is free and fair.
Well, it's a season of award. The year is coming to an end, and a lot of awards being given for the year in the consideration, and so there will continue to be some kind of reactions for those who believe that the process is not being consummated in, do I say, top form. But talking about reactions and complaints, you mentioned Vinicius Junior. He's been named FIFA Best Player of the Year. A lot of people believe that yes, he deserves it, but at the ceremony yesterday in Doha, he won it after 2 months. We saw complaint of a Ballon d'Or, which you mentioned about, but the Ballon d'Or and the FIFA Player of the Year, which one do you think gets the prominence? He has gotten at least one this time around. That's him you can see with the FIFA president being given the best player of the FIFA Player of the Year 2024.
For me, I think the FIFA Player of the Year should be more credible than that of the Ballon d'Or. But then the Ballon d'Or is seen as one of the most prestigious awards in the club football, organized by the French football association and other bodies that came together to also put up this very one. And this further pours some more doubts to the process of the last voting of the Ballon d'Or, where I just mentioned that many were expecting Vinicius Junior to coast home that very one, but then it did not happen. Now FIFA, that is a more higher football governing body across the globe, has decided to say, okay, this young man truly deserves it, and he won it, and that is to tell you that there is a question mark about the reason why he failed to win the Ballon d'Or. Some evidence and facts are beginning to pop up. Some are saying just because of the fact that Real Madrid, were in the center of pushing for the Super League instead of the Champions League, and that is why UEFA had to devise their own means, more like a vendetta exercise to retaliate against Madrid push, for that super club championship out there. But then it is not yet proven. It's still yet an allegation that continues to pop up here and there. But I tell you, I think Vinicius Junior truly deserves this very one.
Talking about Vinicius Junior deserving the FIFA Player of the Year 2024, he scored 24 goals this year, in the year under consideration, and led 11 assists in 39 matches across all competitions, as he actually was part of the team for Real Madrid that won the La Liga and Champions League double last season. You looking at his record, do you think it is justified enough to be named as the best FIFA Player of the Year?
Yeah, for me, you see, stats speaks volume. Take a look at the record I was able to put up there. And then again, there are other things that they do put into consideration. You put into consideration the fact that if a player is that influential in his team out there, it gives you an edge, because a player might win maybe 4 or 5 silverware in his club side, but then makes a cameo appearances for his team. You can't stand a chance of winning against a player that won only just one major trophy in a season, but is that influential in his club side. So for me, I think take a look at the record, go through the gamut, dissect it one after the other, go through the statistics that Vinicius Junior was able to put up. I tell you, without any alarm, he truly deserved this very one. If his record, is to speak for him, he deserves it without any doubt.
Talking about the one man who deserves it without any doubt, Vinicius Junior as the best player of the year 2024. While looking at more awards, the ceremony in Doha yesterday, we saw Barcelona midfielder Aitana Bonmati pick up the women's prize for the second time. 26-year-old Spaniard Bonmati picked up the best women player of the year for the second year running, adding up to 2 Ballon d'Or trophies she already boasts of. This is complete. She winning both Ballon d'Or and winning the FIFA Player of the Year as well.
Deserving for Bonmati, the Barca player out there. She did very well and she has remained consistent. It's one thing that is going for her. More like the head days of Marta, the Brazilian, who was winning every award here and there because she was at the prime of her career. And for Bonmati as well, she has been able to maintain consistency, put up top-notch performances for both club side and the national team. So I think she also deserves this very one.
Well, talking about one mad lady who has won every trophy available to her in club football in the year 2023-2024. Of course, you remember she won the Spanish League, she won the Copa de la Reina for the Super Copa de España, and the second successive Women's Champions League. Bonmati scored a goal and put in a player of the match performance as Barcelona beat Lyon 2-0 in the final of the Champions League to claim her 3rd title in 4 seasons. We say congratulations to Bonmati and Vinicius Junior for winning the top prize in football, world football, so to say. Meanwhile, Alejandro Garnacho, a breathtaking bicycle kick against Everton, has officially crowned 2024 FIFA Postcard Award winner. This is one award that everybody looks forward to who wins it. From what you can see on the screen there, that was spectacular.
Indeed, very spectacular. I also had to remember that match because I watched that match that very day. It was like, wow, when he was able to spring up and put up that bicycle kick out there that went straight into the top corner of the post. I think, I tell you, I have taken time to actually go and make a research about some of the best goals for last season. I think this one stands out most for me. More like what Wayne Rooney did some time ago. Even Cristiano Ronaldo in the Champions League, Madrid against Juventus, but then I think this very one is also truly deserving because it was a spectacular, a sensational bicycle kick that won the heart of so many, that kept so many people on their toes that very day. I can't forget that match. So for Alejandro Garnacho, the Argentine, he deserved this very one.
Well, congratulations to Alejandro for that spectacular kick, the Puskar Award winner for 2024. We're talking about that kick and, of course, the award itself. And bicycle kick, a lot of people know how to be. You remember my own man, Lid Pelé. You saw him, do that as many times as possible while he was playing is football. So we say congratulations to Garnacho for doing that spectacular kick, I must tell you. Meanwhile, we understand there is some disturbing news coming in from the Premiership in England. Chelsea winger Mikhailo Modric says he is in complete shock after testing positive for what has been described as a banned substance. Chelsea in the news for not very good reason.
Yeah, not a very good one for Mikhailo Modric and for Chelsea Football Club, though not an integral part of the squad, but then I think he's playing the third tier of European football, talking about the Conference League, and he's doing very well for the Chelsea side. You know, coming up with this kind of news, I think is quite disturbing. But he released a statement in regard to this yesterday as well. Saying that he has been competing very clean, and he doesn't think that this thing is deliberate, and he still remains innocent. According to the statement that he was able to put up. But then the FA have come with their own statement as well. Despite, or rather, after the adverse finding, when his urine was taken for a sample, he discovered that he has some substance that is against the rule of the game. They had to take this decision. So I think for me it's a troubling time for Mikhailo Modric. We are waiting to see the final decision, but certainly I know that if the FA continue to push further, this case might get to the Court of Arbitration for CAS, because Mikhailo Modric will also want to put up a defense for himself out there.
We are expected to play football clean, and that's why I often have tested. And if Mikel is completely culpable, I'm very sure there will be a lot of punishment coming. It looks like there is an action between Arsenal and their counterparts from maybe tonight.
Yeah, I think it's a big game, but it's another big test, like most tests you want to say for Arsenal after being held last time out by their opponent. Let's see if they can be able to bounce back this time around and continue to fire from all cylinders.
Well, we have to begin to wrap up the show, and talking about wrapping up the show, there is some interesting development across in basketball. You are aware that the NBA Cup final was decided in the early hours of
this very one. And Tokumpo being one of their star man, I think it's a push for them to continue their charge in the regular season so far. I think this one is a big victory for them, and I hope that they can continue to take this momentum even down to the regular season, as competition and hostility continue to get heated in the regular season.
Gianni Antetokounmpo, remember, 2 times most valuable player of the league, and of course even in the finals he's been named as the most valuable player in the finals as well, and now winning is most valuable player of the tournament in the NBA Cup title. Of course, this goes side by side with the league, but I think it's one man who has done so well for Milwaukee Bucks. He's helped Milwaukee Bucks become champions just a few years ago, and now he's helped them to become a winner of the NBA title. So congratulations to Milwaukee Bucks for doing